Hola, ¿qué tal amigos? Bienvenidos una vez más. Gracias por acompañarme a este nuevo día de hoy. Los últimos hacen parte de la transmisión de un envío.
Sí, muchas gracias por su atención. Acabamos de tener un encuentro con el presidente electo y legítimo de Venezuela, Edmundo González Urrutia, al que hemos transmitido todo nuestro apoyo por su victoria, pero sobre todo le hemos transmitido todo nuestro apoyo al pueblo venezolano, a esos casi 8 millones de venezolanos que lograron una victoria histórica, a esos cientos de miles de venezolanos que ahora están sufriendo persecución, que sufren secuestros, que sufren torturas y que a veces sufren asesinatos. Hemos querido reconocer esa labor en esa victoria tan importante, tanto del pueblo de Venezuela como del presidente Edmundo González Urrutia y muy especialmente de una figura heroica como María Corina Machado, que hoy sigue en Venezuela representando las esperanzas de muchas personas que confían en que este cambio pueda ser posible. Le hemos transmitido también todo nuestro apoyo a todos los efectos, tanto desde Vox en Europa, que ha jugado un papel esencial en los últimos meses en el apoyo a la oposición en Venezuela, como desde el Foro de Madrid, que es la primera organización internacional que, movilizando el apoyo y la firma de muchísimos parlamentarios de Europa y de Iberoamérica, reconoció como presidente electo y legítimo a Edmundo González Urrutia. Le hemos transmitido también nuestra preocupación porque las esperanzas del pueblo venezolano, las esperanzas de la diáspora de Venezuela en España puedan verse frustradas una vez más. Y sobre todo le hemos transmitido nuestra preocupación por el papel inquietante de José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero, como un engranaje más del régimen de Maduro, como un miembro del Grupo de Puebla, y cuando decimos como un miembro del Grupo de Puebla, decimos de una organización que está apoyada por Hezbollah, por Hamás, por Irán, por regímenes como el de Cuba, es decir, que representa lo peor de la humanidad en estos momentos. Hemos puesto a su disposición toda la fuerza que tiene Vox, toda la fuerza parlamentaria en España como en Europa, y confiamos en que pronto podamos ver a Edmundo González Urrutia de vuelta en Venezuela y presidiendo su propia nación. Permítame también que, al margen de este encuentro, les transmita nuestra preocupación por aquello que sigue ocurriendo en España, por aquello que sigue ocurriendo en nuestras fronteras, por lo que sigue ocurriendo también en los países vecinos, en Europa, en forma de inseguridad. Lo que ya incluso el CIS reconoce como el primer problema de los españoles es algo que muchos ciudadanos viven de una manera insoportable. Hemos visto el ataque criminal de Alemania, hemos visto el drama de nuevo en los mares y no podemos dejar de acusar en estos momentos a los culpables y a los responsables. A los culpables de las mafias del tráfico de seres humanos y a los responsables del efecto llamada, es decir, al bipartidismo en España y al bipartidismo en Europa, que es responsable de llamar a toda África para que venga a Europa, que es responsable de los dramas en el mar y es responsable también de la inseguridad en las calles de Europa. Vox va a seguir señalando este problema con la misma contundencia de siempre. Durante esta semana vamos a seguir presentando mociones en los ayuntamientos de toda España, precisamente para pedir que se dé la voz al pueblo, para que se pregunte a los barrios, para que se pregunte a los vecinos de los pueblos si quieren participar del reparto de la inseguridad y la ruina y si quieren la instalación de centros de menas cerca de sus casas, decididos por personas que no padecen los problemas, decidido en despachos lejanos de personas que viven muy cómodamente y que no saben qué es lo que tiene que vivir el pueblo llano en España y en toda Europa. Vamos a hacerlo constantemente y, por supuesto, vamos a pedir que el dinero público que sea empleado en relación a la inmigración lo sea para facilitar el billete de vuelta, el regreso a sus países de aquellos que han entrado ilegalmente en España o si lo prefieren, el billete a Bruselas, donde vive toda la clase política responsable de la invasión migratoria. Estamos denunciando que es el Partido Popular y el Partido Socialista, con la regularización de medio millón de personas, de golpe, con el reparto de la inseguridad y de la ruina por las regiones de España, el que es el responsable del efecto llamada. Pero no solo comparten esa política, como consecuencia de la salida de Vox de los gobiernos regionales, hemos tenido que ver cómo aquellos avances que se habían logrado han quedado frustrados. Hemos visto cómo el Partido Popular, una vez que Vox no está en los gobiernos, decide mantener las leyes ideológicas de la izquierda en forma de memoria histórica, decide echar para atrás los avances que ya se atisbaban en materia de política lingüística en algunos casos, decide volver a sobrefinanciar a los sindicatos una vez que Vox no está en los gobiernos y decide, por supuesto, asumir la llegada de la inseguridad y la ruina. Ahora vamos a entrar en el debate de presupuestos y la sensación que tenemos es que el Partido Popular pues está buscando el apoyo del Partido Socialista, porque desde luego el de Vox no está buscando. Muchas gracias y me pongo a su disposición para contestar a las preguntas que quieran.
Señor Abascal, le quería hacer otra pregunta en otro cosa. Ese resultado electoral histórico del Partido por la Libertad de Austria, ¿qué opinan desde la fila de Vox?
Bueno, yo creo que es un gran resultado, que sigue al gran resultado de Chequia, que sigue también a los grandes resultados de muchas regiones de Alemania, que siguen todos ellos al gran resultado en Francia y que esperamos que más pronto que tarde sea un resultado que llegue a España, porque Vox está desde hace mucho tiempo señalando en solitario los problemas de los españoles, muy especialmente el de la inmigración masiva, muy especialmente el de la invasión migratoria, ante la demonización de todos, prácticamente de todos los medios de comunicación y del resto de fuerzas políticas, pero hoy los españoles una vez más nos vuelven a dar la razón diciendo que esa inmigración masiva es lo que más les preocupa. Confiamos en que eso poco a poco represente también un vuelco electoral en España.
Presidente, usted participará el 6 de octubre a la reunión de la Lega en Italia, que justo será centrada también en la inmigración.
No, he sido invitado, pero no podré asistir y de hecho me he excusado recientemente.
¿Y participará una delegación de la Lega, de Vox?
Estamos decidiendo en estos momentos quién puede ser la persona que vaya, pero es muy probable que haya una delegación de Vox ante esa convocatoria en la que participan muchos de nuestros socios europeos y miembros del grupo de Patriots en el Parlamento Europeo.
Dos preguntas judiciales. La primera por el Tribunal Supremo, que ha rechazado la amnistía por malversación, ¿qué le parece? Y estamos
recuérdame la verdad que no he leído.
Ha rechazado aplicar la amnistía en el caso de malversación, como por ejemplo para Oriol Junqueras, y estamos a la espera de saber qué va a decidir la Audiencia Provincial en el caso de Begoña Gómez. No sé qué es lo que esperan.
Bueno, en relación a la primera cuestión, pues todavía creemos que unos pocos hombres buenos en la justicia, respondiendo únicamente a la legalidad, hacen que los españoles puedan mantener la esperanza y que aquellos que cometieron delitos gravísimos contra la unidad nacional, contra la convivencia entre los españoles, contra nuestra economía, atacando la unidad nacional en el año 2017 en Cataluña y además llevándose el dinero de los españoles, pues no pueden hacerlo impunemente y por lo tanto nuestra satisfacción. Y en relación con la segunda cuestión, pues esperamos que siga avanzando la investigación y el proceso judicial en el caso Sánchez, porque estamos hablando del caso Sánchez, un caso que afecta a su señora y un caso que afecta a su hermano, no es evidentemente una casualidad.
Usted ha hablado del papel inquietante del expresidente Zapatero, que ha tratado eso con el señor González. ¿Él comparte esa opinión?
Yo creo que ya me conocen ustedes hace mucho tiempo y yo siempre transmito en este tipo de comparecencias lo que yo he dicho y jamás se me ocurre transmitir qué es lo que me han dicho a mí. Creo que el señor Edmundo González Urrutia es dueño de sus palabras y de sus silencios. Y yo ante ustedes lo que hago es decir de una manera muy fiel qué es lo que he transmitido y por supuesto en ningún caso diré cuál ha sido la respuesta.
¿La relación parlamentaria entre Vox y el Partido Popular va a cambiar a partir de ahora, señora Abascal?
¿La relación parlamentaria se refiere?
Sí, a apoyar iniciativas del PP o a facilitar que haya iniciativas del PP que se tramiten.
El Partido Popular yo creo que todavía no ha entendido una cosa muy importante y es que Vox es un partido independiente que no obedece a intereses espurios y no obedece desde luego a otro partido político. Entonces, si el Partido Popular piensa que por su cara bonita nosotros tenemos que apoyar cualquier cosa que nos pongan encima de la mesa, pactada con Junts, rechazando nuestras enmiendas, maltratando a los interlocutores de Vox y además haciendo que votemos cosas que no compartimos, pues el Partido Popular que pierda toda esperanza. Nosotros estamos dispuestos a hacer oposición al gobierno con toda contundencia. Lo hemos hecho en este Parlamento, lo hemos hecho en los tribunales, lo hemos hecho en las calles. pero no vamos a ser víctimas de ningún chantaje de quien piensa que estamos obligados a votar cualquier cosa. Cuando el Partido Popular entienda eso, será mucho más fácil hacer oposición al Gobierno, pero no creo que el Partido Popular esté haciendo oposición al Gobierno. He insistido, el Partido Popular está manteniendo en todas las regiones las leyes que habían supuesto un cambio junto a Vox. El Partido Popular quiere llegar a acuerdos en política migratoria con el Partido Socialista y, por lo tanto, no parece que es Vox con el que el Partido Popular quiere llegar a acuerdos. Vox solo parece ser un partido que está obligado, no sabemos exactamente por qué, a aceptar todo lo que el PP le ponga encima de la mesa. Eso no ha ocurrido nunca y eso no va a ocurrir nunca.
Señora Abascal, el Gobierno canario y el Gobierno central están retomando las negociaciones para el reparto de migrantes. No sé si creen que pueden llegar a un acuerdo que satisfaga a todos.
Bueno, no tengo ninguna duda de que llegarán a un acuerdo que les satisfaga a todos ellos, pero no van a llegar a un acuerdo que satisfaga a los españoles, que lo que quieren es que de una vez por todas se lance el mensaje de que el que entra ilegalmente en España se va de España, de que aquel que no respeta nuestras fronteras, nuestras leyes y que no quiere convivir entre nosotros, no tiene que venir a vivir entre nosotros. Eso es lo que creo que la mayoría del pueblo español, vote a Vox, vote al Partido Popular o vote al Partido Socialista, quiere, y por lo tanto entienda que tengo toda la desconfianza de cualquier tipo de acuerdo al que lleguen tanto el Partido Popular como el Partido Socialista, o el Gobierno de Canarias o el Gobierno de España.
Yo quería preguntarle por las acusaciones que hace contra usted al vice, que asegura que usted también pudo recibir dinero del empresario que le dio dinero a él. No sé cómo las valora. Desde Vox ha anunciado una querella.
Las he valorado con una querella. Yo creo que es la mejor valoración que se puede hacer.
¿Qué opina en sí de la investigación al vice por haber recibido esa cantidad?
Yo opino que hay 800.000 personas en España, muchas más, pero hay 800.000 personas hartas de la corrupción, que han pensado que no tenían que confiar en otras fuerzas políticas y que hoy viven en la zozobra. Y yo quiero manifestar mi respeto por esas 800.000 personas que han querido un cambio, que han querido retratar a la partidocracia en España y que hoy probablemente son de los españoles más preocupados.
En los últimos días somos testigos de un conflicto entre dos pequeños países. Pero a pesar de su...
Es una inversión y que en ningún caso, tal y como nos dice el Gobierno, supone un gasto. Sabemos que supondrá, el Gobierno ha concedido más de 30.000 millones de euros en subvenciones directas solamente en el año pasado, sin contar con aquellas que son inferiores a 100.000. Es decir, que hay margen suficiente para equilibrar los números, pero que para ello hay que terminar con el gasto improductivo y destinar los recursos a lo verdaderamente importante. En segundo lugar, lo mismo ha ocurrido con nuestra iniciativa relativa a la mejora de la prestación para el cuidado de los hijos enfermos que registramos hoy. En esta iniciativa lo que pedimos es que se elimine la exigencia de hospitalización del enfermo que está recibiendo esta prestación, de manera que baste, que sea suficiente la necesidad del cuidado directo y continuo del enfermo, ya sea en régimen ambulatorio o domiciliario. Y pedimos también que se elimine el límite máximo de edad del enfermo para que los cuidadores puedan percibir esta prestación con independencia de la edad en la que se produzca el diagnóstico de la enfermedad y durante el tiempo que la enfermedad se prolongue. Y en último lugar, no quiero terminar esta intervención sin señalar el drama humanitario que está teniendo lugar frente a nuestras costas, especialmente en Canarias. 9 personas han fallecido en el mar en los últimos días y casi medio centenar han desaparecido. Esta tragedia tiene responsables y son las mafias que operan traficando con personas en rutas perfectamente diseñadas, y también son culpables todos aquellos políticos que llevan años alimentando un efecto llamada con promesas de futuro falsas. El resultado está ahí, un drama humanitario, pero también social y económico que ya padecen muchos lugares de España. Y hay que decir la verdad a estas personas, no se les puede ofrecer un futuro aquí y hay que cortar el grifo a todas esas organizaciones, a todas esas ONGs que en muchísimos casos con la ayuda del Gobierno llevan años tomando parte de esta trama. Han preguntado estos políticos que promueven el efecto llamada a los vecinos del Hierro si querían esto. Han preguntado en algún momento si deseaban duplicar su población, hacinando inmigrantes ilegales en sus barrios. Han preguntado a los canarios si querían los centros de menas. Esta tragedia humanitaria, social y económica tiene responsables y son todos los políticos del Partido Popular, del Partido Socialista y de todos los socios de este último los que se están dedicando a promover este efecto llamada, que como resultado tiene un terrible drama humanitario que estamos viendo todos los días. Y sin más, quedo a vuestra disposición.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenos días, portavoz. Quería comentarle el asunto que ya comentaban ayer fuentes del partido, incluso usted misma ayer por la tarde, sobre la financiación del partido, de haber pedido 9 millones de euros para campañas a un banco de Hungría. Y quería preguntarle si creen que están incumpliendo la ley de partidos, porque le leo el artículo 7 de la ley de partidos, dice: se establece que los partidos no podrán aceptar de ninguna forma de financiación por parte de gobiernos o entidades extranjeras. En este caso se trata de un banco extranjero y quería preguntarle si con este artículo 7 creen, por tanto, que están incumpliendo en este caso la ley de financiación de partidos. Gracias.
Muchas gracias. ¿Le importa leer el encabezado de ese artículo?
Literalmente se lo leo. En concreto establece que los partidos no podrán...
No, el título pone 7 puntos y una rúbrica.
Ah, la rúbrica no la tengo. ¿Se me la puede aclarar para simplemente aclarar el asunto?
Es que ese artículo se refiere a las aportaciones. Y esto no es una aportación, es un crédito. Son dos cosas totalmente diferentes. Con lo cual, ese artículo no aplica a estas circunstancias. Yo respondo siempre a todas sus preguntas. Y este asunto ya ha sido algo que yo he reiterado aquí en numerosas ocasiones. Pero también entiendo que estoy aquí para eso y no me importa repetirlo. No se trata de 9 millones, se trata de 6,5 millones. Ese importe aparece reflejado en la documentación que está colgada en la página web. Esa información la tiene el Tribunal de Cuentas. Como digo, no se trata de una aportación, se trata de un crédito que ya ha sido devuelto. Y se trata de un crédito que nos da una entidad bancaria de Hungría, porque ningún banco español ha querido negociar ningún crédito para que Vox pueda afrontar las elecciones generales del año 2023. Nosotros nos preguntamos por qué los bancos españoles no quieren negociar un crédito con la tercera fuerza y tendrán que explicárselo a sus accionistas. Y esto es algo que igualmente nosotros denunciamos, pero se trata de una información que, como digo, ya tiene el Tribunal de Cuentas, que aparece en la página web, el reflejo de esos créditos que nosotros obtenemos para afrontar las elecciones generales, y no tengo nada más que decir al respecto, salvo que reiterarle exactamente lo mismo. A mí no me importa reiterarlo,
No,
porque yo entiendo que yo estoy aquí para eso, pero lo que quiero decir es que es una información que, como digo, ya se comentó ayer, como usted bien ha dicho. Sí. Yo también lo comenté con ustedes en el canutazo que tuve oportunidad de dar. Y, en fin, que yo no tengo ningún problema, pero
simplemente
por responderle más de lo mismo.
Que no es lo mismo, por aclararlo, que esto es un crédito y no una aportación, y la ley de partidos habla de ninguna forma de financiación, que no sé cómo lo pueden distinguir una forma de financiación, le pregunto, entre un crédito y una aportación. ¿Qué diferencia habría?
Porque ese artículo se aplica a las aportaciones y esto es un crédito, por lo tanto se rige por la Ley Orgánica del Régimen Electoral General. Son dos cosas totalmente diferentes y además se trata de un crédito que ya se ha devuelto con sus intereses. Y a nosotros nos hubiera gustado que ese dinero se quedase en España y que los bancos españoles hubiesen cobrado de vuelta ese crédito con sus intereses. Y esos bancos que le prestan al Partido Popular o al Partido Socialista 15 y 20 millones de euros no quieren negociar un crédito con Vox, y los que se han podido negociar pues han sido cantidades ínfimas. Y eso es lo que nosotros nos preguntamos. Nosotros querríamos que ese dinero, que es una cantidad ingente, se quedase en España. Y nos preguntamos por qué estos bancos no quieren negociar créditos con la tercera fuerza nacional.
Buenos días, portavoz. El fin de semana hubo mucha polémica con unas declaraciones de Borja Semper, que ustedes reproducieron en sus redes sociales, en la que no se quedaba ni con Abascal ni con Sánchez. Yo le pregunto directamente, ¿usted entre Feijóo y Sánchez con quién se queda? Gracias.
Hombre, yo quiero puntualizar qué es lo que dijo el señor Semper. Es decir, yo quiero recordar que Semper fue compañero de Abascal en el País Vasco, en unos años durísimos. Y los dos han conocido lo que ha supuesto ETA en el País Vasco, en primera persona, desde muy jóvenes. Y es lamentable que a día de hoy, aunque estemos en formaciones políticas diferentes, el señor Semper se muestre equidistante entre los que pactan con los herederos de ETA, que no han condenado ningún crimen y que no hacen nada tampoco por esclarecerlo, y una persona como Santiago Abascal, que al margen de ser presidente de un partido, porque al final, teniendo en cuenta ese contexto, es algo secundario, pues haya sufrido en primera persona la amenaza de un grupo terrorista como ETA, durante toda su vida, toda su familia. Entonces, nosotros, más allá de la sorpresa, pues contemplamos eso con tristeza, sinceramente, y con sorpresa. Yo, sinceramente, pues lógicamente yo escogería a todos aquellos que se oponen a la banda terrorista ETA, entre los que está Feijóo, claro que sí. Y nosotros no tenemos ningún tipo de complejo al decirlo. A quien no escogería desde luego sería a Sánchez, ni a ninguno de sus socios.
¿Qué tal, portavoz? Buenos días. Le quería preguntar de nuevo por el Gobierno ha utilizado palabras muy duras de nuevo contra el juzgado de instrucción del juez Peinado. Esta vez ha sido Óscar López quien, a raíz del error en la entrega de documentación a la audiencia provincial, ha vuelto a decir bueno, que es blanco y en botella. En fin, ha vuelto a usar palabras muy duras. No sé si podría hacernos una valoración.
Perdón, es que en el principio de la...
No, le quería preguntar por una valoración sobre las palabras del Gobierno otra vez contra la gestión o la labor del juez Peinado. Esta vez ha sido Óscar López quien ha dicho que, bueno, que blanco y en botella, todo a raíz del problema de la entrega de documentación a la audiencia provincial. Una valoración, gracias.
Pues me parece impropio, absolutamente, de cualquier gobierno que se precie y de cualquier político. Es decir, aquí tenemos a un juez que está desarrollando una labor independiente y hasta que no haya una sentencia, y ni siquiera cuando haya una sentencia, es que no son admisibles esos ataques. Hay medios que están tildando de excesos el trabajo de un juez y tenemos al Gobierno que manda a terceros a investigar la vida privada de los jueces para, no sabe muy bien qué, para presionarles tal vez. Un Gobierno que está utilizando a la Abogacía del Estado, a la Fiscalía General del Estado, que no está dando la información que están demandando los juzgados para el esclarecimiento de todos estos hechos y que encima se permite el lujo de insultar y de presionar de esta manera a los jueces. Es absolutamente inadmisible, pero da buena cuenta de la concepción que tiene este Gobierno sobre la separación de poderes y el lugar que le corresponde a ellos. Este Gobierno se cree que está por encima del bien y del mal y por encima de la ley y que no le aplica a ellos, que eso de la ley es para el pueblo llano, que para ellos no es, muchísimo menos para la mujer del presidente del Gobierno ni para su hermano. Y a nosotros nos parece, desde luego, absolutamente inadmisible. Nosotros estamos personados como acusación popular en todas estas investigaciones, en todo este procedimiento donde se están investigando estas irregularidades y, desde luego, vamos a llegar hasta el final y vamos a hacer todo lo que sea necesario en el juzgado o en las Cortes. No vamos a hacer como el Partido Popular, que dice que eso de citar a Begoña Gómez no va con ellos.
Subvención. Fiscal récord. Nunca el Gobierno socialista. Pedro Sánchez y el Gobierno socialista os están robando. Desde que entraron al cargo en el año 2018, han subido los impuestos nada más y nada menos que hasta en 69 ocasiones. Han obtenido una recaudación fiscal récord. Nunca jamás un Gobierno de España había recaudado tantos impuestos como este Gobierno. Y eso que tanto el PP como el PSOE han ido incrementando de forma sistemática en cada legislatura la recaudación. Y alguno pensaréis, de buena fe, que esta situación redundará en mejores servicios para los españoles. Lo cierto es que no. Vemos con indignación cómo el dinero público se malgasta, ya sea en subvenciones concedidas a dedo, subvenciones, cuestiones ideológicas, ya sea en corrupción. Y aún así, con esta recaudación récord, las listas de espera en la sanidad pública nunca habían sido tan largas. y nuestros sanitarios nunca habían tenido contratos tan precarios. El acceso a la vivienda social nunca había sido tan difícil para quienes realmente lo necesitan. La inseguridad en los barrios nunca había sido sufrida en sus carnes por tantísimos españoles como la padecen hoy en día. Incluso pensemos en la educación, el ascensor social. Nunca había estado en unos niveles tan bajos. Los españoles salen hoy del sistema educativo español más indefensos que nunca para enfrentarse al mercado laboral. Y mientras tanto, el gobierno exprime a los contribuyentes, exprime a los españoles como si de naranjas se tratasen. El instrumento que más recauda en España, el IRPF, impuesto de la renta de las personas físicas, es un impuesto que se establece por tramos. El primer tramo, de 0 a 12.000 euros, de 12.000 a 20.000, de 20.000 a 35, 35 a 60, 60 a 300 y en adelante. Para cada uno de estos tramos, como si fuesen peldaños, debemos tributar a un tipo impositivo diferente. En el tipo estatal, que es de lo que estamos hablando, se tributará un 9,5% para el primer tramo, un 12% para el segundo, 15%, 18,5%, 22,5% y 24,5%. Y esta es la cuota estatal. A ella debe añadirse la cuota autonómica, que para que nos entendamos y para simplificar la explicación, es a todos los efectos idéntica. Hay pequeñas variaciones. En aquellas comunidades en las que gobierna Vox es inferior, en aquellas comunidades en las que gobierna el socialismo es superior. Pero para que nos entendamos, al final, para el primer tramo cada español tendrá que tributar el 19, 24, 30, 37, 45 y 49%. Y así es como el gobierno exprime a los españoles. Y Vox trae hoy una solución. Proponemos una medida para simplificar este impuesto, aplicar la sencillez y crear dos tramos. En primer lugar, de 0 a 22.000 euros, el mínimo personal, esa cantidad mínima que cada español necesita para sustentar sus gastos más básicos, tributará al 0%. Hasta los 70.000 euros, ese primer tramo se tributará al 15%. Y de los 70.000 euros en adelante, se tributará al 25%. Y por cada hijo que tenga cada español, verá minorado el tipo aplicable en un 4%. De tal forma que cada español que tenga, pensemos, un hijo, en el primer tramo tributará un 11% y en el segundo tramo tributará un 21%, con esta minoración, como decimos, del 4% en cada tramo y por cada hijo. Y así, con esta propuesta de Vox, se obtendrá un alivio fiscal para los españoles, que verán cómo su cuota de IRPF se ve reducida. En la propuesta de Vox, hasta los 22.000 euros no se tributará y a partir de ahí la tributación será muy inferior a la que actualmente propone el gobierno. De tal forma que, con una menor recaudación por IRPF, los españoles mantendrán una mayor parte de sus ganancias en sus bolsillos. Y para esto, en ningún caso será necesario reducir, como decimos, los servicios públicos, puesto que en España se gastan cada año en subvenciones, muchas de ellas ideológicas, a ONGs, algunas extranjeras, internacionales, unos 30.000 millones de euros. Se gasta en redundancias en la administración por deficiencias en los servicios hasta unos 60.000 millones de euros. Y las transferencias a las comunidades autónomas, unos 66.000 millones de euros, de los cuales solo un 50% se dedican a cuestiones y servicios esenciales. Es decir, aproximadamente 33.000 millones de euros se podrían empezar a reducir. Y así obtendríamos el ahorro que necesitaríamos con esta rebaja fiscal que proponemos, que supondrá un menor ingreso, una menor recaudación de entre 12 y 18.000 millones de euros. En definitiva, Vox propone una medida de sencillez, de simplificación, que impacte sobre todo en las rentas menores de 22.000 euros, que pagarán 0 impuestos por IRPF, y en aquellos españoles que tengan hijos a su cargo. Aplicando este sistema más sencillo, permitiría que el dinero de los españoles se quedase en sus bolsillos y no en los bolsillos de los políticos.
Vox en Madrid.
Gracias, presidente. Buenos días, señorías. El Tribunal Superior de Justicia de Madrid ha sentenciado que el Madrid Central del Partido Popular es ilegal. Es ilegal, como ya denunciaba Vox desde hace mucho tiempo. Porque es ilegal atacar precisamente a los más vulnerables con legislaciones que no pueden cumplir, porque no tienen dinero muchas familias para comprarse un coche eléctrico que les permita moverse por todo Madrid. Porque es un atraco para las pequeñas empresas, para los autónomos que no pueden cambiar de furgoneta o no pueden pagar ese peaje por entrar y pierden clientes todos los días o tienen que renunciar a ellos. Porque además perjudica al pequeño comercio que está en los núcleos de los municipios que ustedes peatonalizan y aplican la legislación de bajas emisiones, que ven como que los clientes ya no se acercan. Y además es confiscatorio, porque ustedes solo tienen un afán recaudatorio y se han dedicado a poner 3 millones de multas, 3 millones de multas, 95 multas al día, 10 multas mientras que usted y yo estamos hablando, medio millón de euros recaudados al día, medio millón. Esto, de verdad, esto es el Partido Popular de la Libertad y usted como presidenta en la Comunidad de Madrid podía haberse negado, podía haber hecho un informe en contra y no lo hizo, sino que lo avaló. Y no solo eso, sino que lo extendió a todos los municipios de más de 50.000 habitantes. ¿Por qué se empeña en prohibir y en prohibir? ¿Por qué se empeña en atacar a los más vulnerables? ¿Por qué se empeñan en ahogar a los autónomos? ¿Por qué se empeñan en recaudar y recaudar y ahogar más a las familias? Y sobre todo, ¿por qué perseveran en seguir con una ilegalidad? Muchas gracias. Señora Ayuso, usted dedica de su presupuesto 2,3 millones al año al cierre de estos municipios. No solo eso, aquí hay un informe con el sello de la Comunidad de Madrid donde les piden a ustedes avalar el cierre de todos los municipios y usted dice que sí. Oiga, ¿para qué hace usted informes si no tiene competencia? ¿Para qué usted hace informes si no puede pararlo? Claro que lo podía haber parado. Mire, nosotros le exigimos que detenga ya el Madrid Central, que inste al Ayuntamiento de Madrid, al señor Almeida, a devolver las multas, a dejar de multar,
señorías.
Que utilice las cámaras con las que multa a los madrileños para controlar a los delincuentes que hay en Madrid, no a los pobres madrileños que están abrasados. Que además, como presidenta del Partido Popular en la Comunidad de Madrid, le diga al señor Almeida que basta ya, porque ¿sabe lo que pasa? Que consiguieron los votos estafando a los madrileños diciendo que iban a acabar con Madrid.
Hemos estado celebrando pleno aquí en la Asamblea de Madrid. Como ven, hemos preguntado a la presidenta sobre su apoyo a las prohibiciones en Madrid, ¿no? De cómo desde la Comunidad de Madrid se ha financiado con 2,3 millones de euros las prohibiciones en todos los municipios de más de 50.000 habitantes, prohibiendo entrar vehículos que no sean eléctricos. Y hay una sentencia del Tribunal Superior de Justicia de Madrid que da la razón a Vox diciendo que esta ley precisamente ataca a los más vulnerables, a las familias que no se pueden comprar un coche eléctrico, porque un coche eléctrico es muy caro, es un lujo hoy en Madrid. Ataca también a los autónomos que tienen una furgoneta que no es eléctrica y que ahora tienen que o cambiar de furgoneta o alquilarse una para entrar en Madrid. ¿Sabe lo que acaban haciendo? Y esto me lo dicen muchos autónomos. Pues perdiendo los clientes que tienen en el centro de Madrid o en el centro de esos municipios donde la señora Ayuso ya no les deja entrar, todos aquellos de más de 50.000 habitantes. Y además, en la campaña electoral del señor Almeida, en los carteles que vimos todos en los autobuses, decía que iba a acabar con el Madrid Central de Carmena. Y resulta que no solo no ha acabado con él, sino que lo ha ampliado. Y ahora hay una sentencia del Tribunal Superior de Justicia de Madrid que no quieren cumplir, 3 millones de multas al año, 95 multas a la hora, 95 multas a la hora, medio millón de euros recaudados al día, medio millón de euros que salen de las familias que muchas veces no pueden pagar, que salen de los autónomos, de las pequeñas empresas, pero ¿en qué están pensando? ¿De verdad se ponen en el lugar de toda esa gente? Y ahora que tiene una sentencia que les puede permitir dejar de multar, modificar la ley y empezar a pensar en los madrileños, se niegan a cumplirla. Y van a seguir multando, van a seguir arruinando muchísimas familias. No entendemos en qué están pensando o para quién trabajan. Tampoco entendemos la ley Mbappé que traen hoy aquí. Mire, nosotros somos partidarios de que los inversores que vengan a Madrid, extranjeros o no extranjeros, tengan condiciones muy atractivas. Porque ¿qué queremos? Atraer inversión a Madrid, porque cuando se atrae inversión, pues se genera empleo, se genera riqueza, se genera algo que es bueno para todos los madrileños. Pero esto hay que saber hacerlo sin discriminar al madrileño que está aquí. Porque el madrileño que está aquí, que está aguantando años y años con su pequeña empresita, que a lo mejor quiere invertir y comprar, ampliar la empresa, ampliar la nave, hacer una inversión inmobiliaria o de cualquier tipo societaria, no tiene por qué tener peores condiciones que el extranjero que acaba de llegar. Una vez más, el Partido Popular, la señora Ayuso, pensando en los extranjeros antes que en los madrileños, pensando en el que se puede permitir el lujo de comprarse un coche eléctrico en vez de los madrileños que no se lo pueden permitir. Es que, de verdad, yo creo que tienen que cambiar las prioridades. Tienen que empezar a hacer leyes pensando primero en los que están más justos de recursos, en los que las pequeñas empresas que no llegan para que no cierren y dejar de ser tan débiles con los poderosos y, en cambio, tan duros con los vulnerables. Porque esto resulta preocupante. Hoy también traen una ley aquí para conseguir que los jóvenes se vayan a vivir a la Sierra de Madrid o las zonas rurales. Es una idea que está bien. Está bien, sería fantástico que todos los jóvenes quisieran irse al entorno rural. Pero la realidad del mundo, y si uno estudia las ciudades, es que la mayoría de la gente lo que quiere es estar en el centro de la ciudad, donde tiene opciones de ocio, opciones de trabajo. Y yo creo que para poder incentivar que la gente vaya afuera, que yo creo que está muy bien, a los pequeños pueblos, lo primero que tiene que hacer la Comunidad de Madrid es sacar sus consejerías de las calles de lujo del centro de Madrid. Que den ejemplo. O sea, le van a decir a los jóvenes madrileños que se vayan al entorno rural cuando ellos entran con su coche oficial, claro. Ellos no tienen que comprarse un eléctrico, ellos se mueven por Madrid Central en coche oficial a sus consejerías y a sus edificios en las zonas más caras de todo Madrid. O sea, lo que le piden a los jóvenes no se lo aplican ellos. Por eso nosotros hemos registrado una ley para dejar de pagar arrendamientos de edificios de la Comunidad de Madrid en las zonas más caras de Madrid, irse a otras zonas menos caras, dedicar recursos de los madrileños a edificios y mantenimiento y vender aquellos edificios carísimos en las zonas más caras de Madrid y dar ejemplo y así poder decirle a los jóvenes y a los madrileños que se vayan a vivir al extrarradio, que lo hagan ellos primero, que dejen de estar en la calle Alcalá. Oiga, mire usted, hagan el paseo, vayan de Cibeles hasta Sol caminando por la calle Alcalá. ¿Qué se encuentran? ¿Qué se encuentran? Todo edificios públicos. Está la Consejería de Educación de la Comunidad de Madrid, está la Consejería de Agricultura cerca, digitalización también, educación. En las zonas más caras, de lujo, pagado con el dinero de los madrileños. Venga, vamos a dar ejemplo. Váyanse a los entornos rurales, a los barrios de menos precio. Y luego díganle a los madrileños que también hagan eso. Y de paso ahorremos dinero, porque cuesta mucho todo eso al año, y con ese dinero hagamos vivienda social que hace falta en Madrid. Estamos muy contentos porque ahora escuchamos que el Partido Popular en el Congreso está anunciando lo que llevamos aquí anunciando tantos meses de liberalizar el suelo, como una propuesta de ellos. No sé si el señor Feijóo se ha enterado de que la señora Ayuso me ha tumbado esa propuesta 6 veces en la Comunidad de Madrid, la de liberalizar el suelo, pero está muy bien que ahora la asuman, está fenomenal. Y me preocupa lo que ha salido diciendo la señora Paloma Martín sobre la ocupación y la vulnerabilidad, diciendo que bajan el importe en el que ya no se va a pedir un desahucio en Madrid. Oiga, si se incumple un contrato, se incumple un contrato. Me da igual que sean 1.050 que 1.800 euros. Entonces, no se aclara. La ocupación es ilegal. Y es ilegal siempre, en cualquier caso. Y el Partido Popular en esto no se puede equivocar porque no puede no defender la propiedad privada. Y bienvenidos a nuestro discurso de liberalizar el suelo. Me encanta que el señor Feijóo nos escuche y nos copie. A ver si animan a la señora Ayuso a votarnos a favor las medidas otra vez, que las volveremos a traer. A ver si ahora han cambiado de opinión, que ya saben que el Partido Popular muchas veces cambia de opinión. Gracias.
Buenos días, señora Monasterio. Quería preguntarle por la respuesta que le ha dado la presidenta a su pregunta sobre las zonas de bajas emisiones, anunciando nuevas ayudas tanto para vecinos como para comerciantes. Y después sobre la ley que anuncia, ¿es un proyecto de ley o es una proposición no de ley?
Es una proposición no de ley. Si le parece bien a la señora Ayuso, la convertimos en proyecto de ley. Pero vamos, yo creo que está claro que no podemos estar las consejerías en las zonas más caras de todo Madrid de lujo, y en cambio los madrileños sin poder acceder a una vivienda y sin ninguna posibilidad. Vamos a dar ejemplo. Y por cierto, siguen teniendo mi propuesta de reducir los diputados a la mitad. Respecto a las bajas emisiones, lo primero que tiene que hacer la señora Ayuso es eliminar la partida de 2,3 millones con la que financia la prohibición de entrar en muchos municipios de Madrid. A eso no me ha contestado. Y es asombroso que me diga que no es su competencia cuando le he enseñado un informe de la Comunidad de Madrid donde podían oponerse a esta ley y no se opusieron. Con el sello de la Comunidad de Madrid, la señora Ayuso avaló el Madrid Central. No solo lo avaló, sino que le pone todos los años 2,3 millones de todos los madrileños. Y ahora, ¿cómo se entiende esto? Le pone 2,3 millones para peatonalizar los centros y arruinar al pequeño comercio y luego anuncia aquí que hay pobres comerciantes, os vamos a ayudar con una pequeña... Pero vamos a ver, que los comerciantes no quieren ser unos subvencionados de la señora Ayuso, lo que quieren es que lleguen sus clientes al centro, que les dejen de prohibir, que los autónomos no tienen un duro, que les han subido la cuota de autónomo y ahora llega la señora Ayuso y le hace cambiar de furgoneta. Es que yo creo que les falta una dosis de realidad. Les falta hablar con la gente de la calle. Les falta calle. Les falta calle, lo he dicho muchas veces. Si hablaran con la gente de la calle, se darían cuenta que la gente no puede cambiar de furgoneta, que las familias no tienen un duro para comprarse un coche eléctrico de 40.000 euros, que además la industria automovilística en España, que es la segunda de Europa después de Alemania, resulta que ha tenido unas pérdidas del 6% en ventas. ¿Por qué? Porque han conseguido ya el colmo, que es que la gente no se pueda comprar un coche eléctrico, pero tampoco cambie a un coche de gasolina, no modernice el coche, porque tiene miedo a que con él no pueda hacer nada. Con lo cual, ¿qué pasa? Que están abrasando también la industria del automóvil. Son unos genios. Son unos genios. Es que ya es el colmo. Y además, no hay puntos de recarga eléctrico por Madrid. Si uno se hace una excursión con un coche eléctrico, yo la he hecho, y se quiere ir a cargar, se tira 1 hora y media esperando en un sitio para poder cargar porque no hay puntos. En las comunidades de vecinos no es fácil montarlo y si uno se va arriba se encuentra las calles con todos los pocos coches que hay, con los cables atravesados, los peatones saltando cables. Hombre, por favor, ¿qué tomadura de pelo es esta? Entonces vamos a ser serios, dejemos de arruinar a las familias, de arruinar la industria del automóvil y de componentes y hagamos leyes que no afecten y no destrocen precisamente al más vulnerable. El señor Almeida tiene que cumplir la ley y la señora Ayuso tiene que cumplir la ley, lo que ha dicho el TSJ y lo que desde luego desde Vox llevamos denunciando mucho tiempo. Gracias. ¿Alguna más? Sí. Pues gracias por la pregunta. Mire, la verdad es que yo estoy muy preocupada con este tema. Estoy muy preocupada con el tema de la comisión de investigación que habíamos abierto en Madrid a final de junio, que en julio no quisieron activar para llamar a Begoña Gómez, no quiso el PP promover que tuviéramos plenos en julio, y ahora... Yo no sé, y empiezo a sospechar que la señora Ayuso tiene un pacto con el señor Lobato en este tema, porque el PSOE ha anunciado una comisión para, en general, estudiar las cátedras de las universidades, pero con un objeto que ya no nos permite llamar a Begoña, y no han querido activar la comisión en la que nosotros íbamos a llamar a Begoña para que declarara aquí, a Begoña Gómez. ¿Qué le pasa al PP o a la señora Ayuso que no quiere llamar a Begoña Gómez a esta asamblea? ¿Tiene las manos atadas por algo? Yo no lo entiendo. ¿Ha llegado a un acuerdo con el Partido Socialista? ¿Por qué quieren desactivar esta comisión? ¿Por qué no la han activado ya? ¿Por qué no estamos llamando ya aquí a los que tienen que comparecer? ¿Por qué no apretamos con este tema? Desde junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, y ahora nos meten la otra comisión. Yo sospecho que pactada con el Partido Socialista una vez más, el Partido Popular y el Partido Socialista, porque si no, no lo puedo entender. ¿Qué estamos haciendo en un tema tan grave que afecta además al prestigio de las universidades públicas madrileñas de las que yo estoy tan orgullosa? ¿Qué le pasa al Partido Popular? La señora Ayuso, ¿por qué no aprieta con el tema de Begoña Gómez? ¿Por qué no hemos llamado ya a la comisión de investigación a Begoña Gómez? ¿Por qué no se ha activado ya? Tiene mayoría absoluta, ¿eh? La señora Ayuso puede hacer lo que quiera. Puede hacer lo que quiera. ¿Por qué no han activado ya la comisión de investigación en la que íbamos a llamar a Begoña Gómez? A mí que me lo expliquen. A ver si ustedes consiguen averiguarlo. Desde luego ya lo averiguaremos nosotros. Gracias. ¿Sí?
Es que no lo he entendido muy bien.
Mire, Pepe, sí, es que es farragoso. Ya sabe que todo lo que hace en la Asamblea lo hacen farragoso para que no se entere la gente de lo que hace. Bueno, básicamente nosotros teníamos una comisión que en junio ya estaba preparada y podríamos haber avanzado en julio. En julio nosotros solicitamos activar los plenos, Vox solicitó activar los plenos, la señora Ayuso no quiso. Se fueron todos de vacaciones, con un tema tan importante con el que podían hacer oposición a Sánchez. No quisieron. Ahora podríamos estar activando esa comisión, llamando a los comparecientes, haber avanzado muchísimo y que tuviéramos ya a Begoña Gómez en poco tiempo aquí. Y resulta que ahora parece que se registra una comisión para estudiar en general las cátedras en la Complutense, pero sin el objeto concreto del tema de Begoña Gómez, con lo cual no nos van a dejar llamarla. Y yo me temo que esta comisión pues es la que va a salir adelante, y cuando llamemos a Begoña Gómez nos van a decir que no podemos, pero esto está en manos del PP, de la señora Ayuso, derivarlo hacia un lado o hacia otro. Está en manos de la señora Ayuso activar ya la comisión de investigación y que venga Begoña Gómez y tumbarla del PSOE de Lobato genérica, o activar la del señor Lobato genérica que no nos va a permitir llamar de testigo a Begoña Gómez y que esto pase sin pena ni gloria. Atención a este tema, atención al culebrón, porque aquí está pasando algo. Entonces yo quiero saber el Partido Popular qué va a hacer. Yo quiero saber la señora Ayuso qué va a hacer. Si de verdad quiere llamar a Begoña Gómez o aquí hay un enjuague entre el PP y el PSOE para que esto pase de puntillas. Aquí ni tú ni yo vamos a no hacernos daño. Cuidado con esto. Estén atentos porque esto tiene mala pinta. Yo lo que espero y lo que deseo es que el Partido Popular, de verdad, llame aquí a la señora, y además tiene mayoría absoluta, y nosotros desde luego la vamos a llamar. Ahora tenemos dos precedentes muy malos, en el Congreso y en el Senado, donde el Partido Popular no quiso llamar a Begoña Gómez. No quiso. Aquí ladran, pero no muerden el Partido Popular. Señora Ayuso ladra, pero luego no muerde. No hace verdadera oposición a Sánchez. Tiene ahora la oportunidad que demuestre que quiere acabar con el gobierno de Pedro Sánchez, porque desde luego Vox queremos acabar con el gobierno de Pedro Sánchez y vamos a hacer todo lo posible. Gracias.
Yo quiero insistirle sobre este tema especialmente porque comparando lo registrado por el Partido Popular, el 4 de junio el título de la comisión es el mismo que el aprobado se desestimó el 19 de septiembre la posición del PSOE y es el mismo texto y es la misma comisión. Entonces, ¿qué comisión está hablando usted del PSOE? ¿Cuándo se ha registrado? Y si nos puede dar más datos o dónde podemos obtener más información.
Les mandamos todo y es clarísimo. Básicamente es descafeinar la comisión. Pero el ejemplo más claro lo tienen en junio, cuando nosotros pedimos activar esa comisión para julio. ¿Quién nos tumbó? En la Junta de Portavoces, ¿quiénes nos tumbaron que se activaran los plenos para llamar aquí a Begoña Gómez en la comisión de investigación, para avanzar con esa comisión? El Partido Popular nos lo tumbó. ¿Por qué no quieren ya resolver este tema? Por lo menos queremos saber qué ha pasado. Queremos traer aquí a que los que firmaron esa cátedra. Queremos recuperar el prestigio de la Complutense, que es que fuera de España se está viendo la Universidad Pública Española como si esto fuera un chiringuito de dar cátedras al que no las merece. Entonces, no entendemos por qué esto no se activa ya. No entendemos por qué no estamos ya con esa comisión en marcha, con los comparecientes, llamando a Begoña Gómez y resolviendo esto. No lo entendemos. Entonces, le pedimos a la señora Ayuso que ponga orden aquí, por favor, que dejen de posponer el tema y resolvamos este tema, porque afecta a las universidades de la Comunidad de Madrid, afecta al prestigio de la universidad pública de la que yo estoy orgullosísima, afecta a muchísima gente que se ha matado para conseguir una cátedra y ve como una vez más, porque ya tuvimos el caso máster con el Partido Popular, aquí algunos presuntamente se les dan cátedras a las que no tienen derecho. Entonces, esto es un tema muy serio. Y yo lo que pido es que se active ya la comisión de investigación y que el Partido Popular y la señora Ayuso llame a Begoña Gómez. Y que apoye nuestra propuesta de llamar a Begoña Gómez. Pero ya, no dentro de 3 meses. Ya. Entonces vamos a ver qué pasa, pero estén atentos a esto. Gracias. A todos los que tengan algún tipo de implicación en esto. Pero es un tema muy serio que tenemos que resolver ya, que afecta al prestigio de las universidades. Y que se está hablando en muchos sitios y da una imagen de España pésima. Y a mí todo lo que afecta a la imagen de España me preocupa mucho. Porque no se merecen esto los catedráticos, los alumnos y toda la gente que saca adelante todos los días la Universidad Pública Española, que es excelente, y que fuera de España la gente nos ve con admiración cuando vienes de una universidad pública española. Son serias, pero dejan de ser serias con escándalos como estos. Gracias.
Great game. And that was a great game. Alabama got off to a really big start. You would have said it was over, and then Georgia came back. What a great game that was. Great players, a lot of future NFL players in that group, but it was really great. But the level of love and enthusiasm, and, you know, Tim Walsh, you know who he is, right? I won't say which, but he went to a game, they booed him out of the place. He wanted to go home early. He wanted to get out of there. That was not good. It was not a good environment. But this is a poll. I mean, that's a poll. It's all a poll. You know, you have thousands of people outside. We were in Wisconsin yesterday, and except for the fact that the administration would not let us have we had 50,000, maybe more people, and we were going to do an outdoor rally, and we ended up having to do it inside in front of about 1,000 people. But we had 50,000 people that showed up, but they didn't want me to be outside. They said they couldn't get us enough people because they were guarding the United Nations and Iran. The president of Iran is here. But Iran is threatening my life, and they're guarding the president of Iran. And Biden doesn't say anything. I'd say something. If that were me, and I don't care who the opponent was, I'd be letting him know, you better not touch, you better not do anything. But, you know, they're guarding Iran, and we had 50,000 people. It was the most incredible scene. Wisconsin, I think we're going to do great in Wisconsin. But Rasmussen just came out with a big poll. We're leading. And we have a couple of them where we're leading virtually in every swing state because people are tired of her act. We're going to say some tough things today. People are tired of her act, her lying. She's a liar, and they're tired of it. I think they would have been better off keeping Sleepy Joe. You want to know the truth? I do. Early voting is beginning and get underway. It's all underway right now in Pennsylvania, and Erie County is starting in the coming days. You know, Erie County was known as a Democrat area until Trump came along. And then they said, what the hell? Right, David? They said, what the hell happened to Erie County? Well, we love you. We're the same people. You, me, we're the same. We need each and every one of you to make a plan to vote early and vote absentee, do whatever you want. The main thing is you got to get out and you got to vote. I really believe that if you look at this date and look at what's happening to our country, I think November 5th will be the most important day potentially in the history of our country, because our country's going bad. It's going bad. We have stupid people running it. We also need you to find as many other new voters as you can, so go get them. We have some voters that are for us, but they never voted. And they're going to want to vote. Just a little bit prodding, they'll come out and they'll vote. Our entire nation is counting on the people of the Commonwealth, and I know you will not let us down. You're not going to let us down. We're going to have a tremendous vote. We're leading by a lot in Pennsylvania. We'll never frack, never frack. There will be no petroleum product. We're going to go to wind. Everything's going to be wind. Wind. Even if it's not windy, then we'll suffer for a couple of days. Well, about 90% of the year. We're going to wind. We're going to lots of different things. They haven't worked anywhere else in the world, but we're going anywhere. No, there's no way she fracks her whole life. So she has 15 policies, and over the last year and a half, every single one of them, she changed to the exact opposite. Like taking prisoners and giving them sex change operation. She's totally in favor. That's what she wants to do. That's one of the more men playing in women's sports. Who would want that? Who would want that? Frankly, the worst of all, and to me the most ridiculous, or almost most ridiculous, open borders. Let everyone come into our country and destroy it. But if we win in Pennsylvania, we will win the whole thing. We're going to win, and we're going to turn our country around. We're going to turn our country around, right? David, we're going to turn our country around. We're going to turn around fast. Thank you. And vote for that man right there. He's a great man, David McCormick, Senator. Bob Casey. Bob Casey does nothing. He doesn't do. I was there 4 years. I don't know if I ever met the guy. He just votes along whoever's, you know, on the radical left, he votes. It's not your guy. You know, he's been there a long time. His father was there. He was there. You got to get somebody that's got energy. He's a low-energy person. Remember the last time I said that? That family has never spoken to me again. 37 days from now, we're going to win this Commonwealth. We're going to defeat Lion Kamala Harris, and we will make America great again. We will do that. And this is the most important election. I think it's going to be the most important election of them all. I mean, they had some pretty good ones, right? A long time ago, they had some pretty good ones, but this is, you know, I thought that 2016 was the most, and I'd say that. This is the most important because the border was bad, and then we fixed it 100%. It was so good, and then these guys took over and they destroyed it quickly. They got rid of little things like Remain in Mexico, you know, things like not easy to get, Remain. When I told the president of Mexico, you know, everybody's staying in Mexico. No, we wouldn't do that. I said, yes, you will. Because if you don't, we're going to tariff your cars at 150%, and that's going to be the end of that. Sir, we'd love to do that. We'd love to keep everybody in. We had hundreds of thousands of people. Tijuana was probably the fastest growing place on the planet. You ended up with like 500,000 people there, from a little town where you get a nice little drink to 500,000 people. They couldn't get into the country. They wouldn't come in. Mexico was great, but I used tariffs in order to get that, but it was very important. As soon as they came in, they let the people just pour in. It is so sad, and we're going to discuss that. If Kamala Harris gets 4 more years, America, as we know it, will absolutely be destroyed. You'll have not 21 or 25, whatever it may be. Nobody has any idea. They have no idea. They have no idea. You know, they like to say 12, 14, 13. It's 21. It's probably, could be 31, could be a lot more than that. They have no idea. They're pouring in. Kamala is openly acknowledged to be the worst vice president in history, and as president, she would be much worse than that. She would be a disaster. I mean, they asked her, did anybody see the Oprah interview? Oprah wanted to climb under the table. She couldn't. The whole thing is crazy. 2 days ago, for the first time ever, the Patriots of ICE released. This is the first time ever where they released murder numbers and rape numbers and human trafficking numbers. They never do that. They talk about overall, nice and gently. But somebody felt that these numbers should be released, and they came out actually just as she got to the border. It's very interesting. This was a little tough, because she gets up and she goes, well, I didn't really get involved too much with the border, but I'm going to now get involved. Why didn't she do it almost 4 years ago? Why didn't she do it? Because she can't do it. She can't do it. Number one, she doesn't have the capability. Number two, her base will not let her do it, for whatever reason that is. You have to explain that. But new data came out, and the massive number of savage criminal aliens that Kamala Harris has allowed to invade our country, this is an invasion, and these people are mean, tough. She had a total, listen to this, these numbers just came out, nobody thought, and I've been saying it for a long time because we are the party of common sense. I knew that once they had open borders, all of the countries, I didn't think about all over the world, I thought in South America, it's all over the world. Last week, a lot of people came in from the Congo, a big prison in the Congo in Africa. Welcome to the United States. They came in from the Congo. They come in from South America. They come in from Asia. They come in from all over the world. They come in from all over the world. The Middle East, you got to see, from Yemen, they're coming in. We have more terrorists come into our country in the last 2.5 years than we've ever seen. You know, I had 1 year where Border Patrol said no terrorists came in. I had another year where they said 11 came in. Thousands of terrorists are pouring into our country now. Thousands. And they're coming into our cities and our small towns here in Pennsylvania and all over the country. These towns are petrified. Even if they're not there yet, they will be there, because you have millions of people we're dealing with. No country, this is not sustainable by any country in total. Listen to these numbers, though. These are the official numbers. These are certified numbers. Can you believe it? This isn't her with her bullshit. In total, she's a liar. In total, during her term, no, it's not even believable, she let in 13,099 convicted murderers. Some of them had murdered 10 people. Some murdered 7. One murdered 6. I'm looking at these. These are stone cold killers. And they let in people that are worse than any criminal we have. The only thing nice about it is they make our criminals look extremely soft and nice. And remember these people, remember her and Sleepy Joe saying, no, the people that we bring in, they don't create crime. I'm saying, are they kidding? I'm going to show you a video that I have that you're going to see in a couple of seconds. It's brutal. It's brutal. One guy talking to a judge, I will kill you. These are brutal people. These are the people that we don't want. You know, we all have big hearts and all that stuff. She let in 25,272 illegal aliens convicted of rape and other sex crimes, viciously raping, and 62,231 criminal aliens convicted of violent assault, where people are just about dead, but they didn't die, but we took them in too. In total, she let in, listen to these numbers, 647,572 migrant criminals of the worst order. They call them of the worst order. I wonder what that means. Charged with or convicted with heinous crimes, including child predators, drug dealers, vicious gang members, sadist thugs, and people that deal in women, people that they take women and they sell women and they bring them across the border, mostly women, children also, but mostly women. And they're all living in our country right now. And we've had many killings. Rachel Morin, so many people have died, but wait till you see what's going to happen. Oh, and if I don't get in, it's going to be the worst thing that this country has ever suffered, because they won't do a damn thing about it. And the number of 21 or 25 or whatever million it is, you'll have 150, 200 million come in. You will have, this country will no longer be recognizable. It's already close to that, and we're going to get it taken care of. And I just say this. To all rapists, drug dealers, human traffickers, and murderers, welcome to America. It is important that you send a thank you note to Lion Kamala Harris, because without her, you would not be here. But we don't want you here, and you're going to get the hell out. Very soon, we're getting you out. When just one convicted murderer escapes from prison in real life, right? We have one person will escape who's not nearly as bad as the people we're letting in. He's like a perfect person compared to the people we're letting in. You'll see that in a second. But if somebody escapes, we have a massive manhunt, and we look all over the place, and we got everything in the world. And we have 13,099 that just came in. We have massive manhunts. It's all over the place, and they capture them. But now we have 13,099. That's just the murderers. And over 600,000 they call them highest level criminals in our country. Kamala let in the 13,099 convicted murderers and opposes all efforts to find them and to remove them. She opposes all these efforts because, look, she's a communist, you know that. I used to say Marxist, but unfortunately nobody knows what that is. Most people said, what's a Marxist? Is that a good thing or bad? I said, I have to use the word communist, okay? Does anybody mind? It's close, and by the way, they're close enough. Remember I used to say, our country will never be a socialist country? And I turned out to be right. They skipped socialism. They went right down to communism. So I was right. See, because I'm right about everything, right? Trump is right about everything. Trump is right about everything. They skip socialism. Normally they go from socialism to communism. No, they skip socialism. Kamala Harris can never be forgiven for erasing our border. And she must never be allowed to become president of the United States. She'll destroy. She's a radical left lunatic. And one of the reasons I'm angry, yesterday she made a speech like everything on the border is good. And she's going to fix the border. Did you see that crazy speech? And I'm going to fix the border because I was a prosecutor. You know who she prosecuted? Mostly her political opponents like me. But how am I doing? I'm doing pretty good, right? She actually had a terrible record as a prosecutor. And you know who she went after more than anybody? African Americans. They hate her. They hate her. And she destroyed San Francisco. But what she's done is a total disqualifier. She should be disqualified. She should resign the vice presidency and go home to California, which she is by, you know, she's really destroyed it. But she should go home in disgrace. What Kamala has done with illegal migrants is the biggest crime story of our time, because hundreds of thousands of people are going to be victims very shortly. It's happening. We had many of them yesterday. We had this incredible event. We had many of the parents of victims at the event. We had one or two that spoke. I mean, it's impossible almost for them. Their lives are destroyed, just so you understand. Their daughters were killed. Their lives are destroyed. Their sons are killed. And they were killed by migrants that came in illegally that were so vicious, like you've never seen before. Already hundreds of people have been murdered because of her action at the border, and thousands more will follow in rapid succession. She should be impeached and prosecuted for her actions. And these killers are stone-cold monsters and have so little heart. They have no heart. They really have no heart. Worse than anything you can see on television. You know, you look at the mob pictures, the gangster pictures, the drug dealer pictures. These people are far worse. There's nobody in Hollywood like this. You can't get people like this. You'll see that in a second. And they don't care when or who they kill. They wake up the following morning, they don't even remember. So it's just like a routine part of life. And they're in our country now. They don't even think about it. These are rough, vicious, rougher than anything you can imagine. There is no, and I say it all the time, if you wanted to do a movie on some of these people that you're going to be looking at in 2 minutes, if you wanted to do a movie, there's no actor in Hollywood that could play the role. There's nobody that could do it. These actors, you know, they're a little bit shaky. They can't play the role. They'll bring in a big actor and you look, you say, oh, he's got no muscle content. He's got no muscle. We need a little muscle. Then they bring in another one, but he's got a weak face. He looks weak. No, these guys have the whole package, unfortunately for our country. I watched one of them shouting at a judge, I kill you. I kill you when I get out. I kill you. And, you know, the judge is like, oh, he's never heard this stuff. And even the guards, you know, they want to look for a new job themselves. I kill you. But it's all because Kamala let these people in. Let's take a look at this. You'll find it very interesting.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, please step out of the hallway. They're fucking dead. They're fucking break out soon. No, kill more. See, the only thing if I get regret is if I can just kill two. I wish if I can kill more of those motherfuckers. Kill more cops soon.
He says he wants to apply for pardon for the felony he committed. Attempt of murder.
Central casting, Mr. Wall. Stand up, Mr. Wall. I love this guy's outfit. I got to buy. Are they for sale? I want to buy one. You know, I built hundreds of miles of wall. I'm going to buy one of those and come out here. I built hundreds of miles of wall and it worked. And I was going to add another 200 miles and then we had a very disruptive election. Horrible thing happened. Horrible, horrible. Including in this state. We won it in 2016 easily. And then in this state, bad things happened because I love you and you love me. We did so good here. But you know what? I built hundreds of miles of wall, and I'm going to walk onto this platform someday at some place, and I'm going to wear that ugly, horrible suit because it's emblematic. It's emblematic of what we've done, right? It's a great guy. He must have been to 250. Do you have any idea how many you've come to? Hundreds. And he's a very successful guy. You believe it? It's like, you know, they go to football games and they got the name of guy's a top guy in a law firm or a top CPA. But on Sunday or Saturday, goes to football, and they have the name of the player in the back. You know, like, I mean, who would do that? But they do that. I wouldn't do that, just out of pride. I'm not going to do that. We want to keep our own name on our back, right? But he's been a great guy. I'll bet he's gone to 250 rallies. You may have the record, right? We have the people from, the ladies from North Carolina. We have the front row Joes. Where's the front row Joe? Look at this. Well, look at these guys. Look at these front row Joes. But we have a great time with a horrible subject. Think how it will be when we fix it. We will really have a great time because we're going to fix it and we're going to fix it. But these people are very much like how the Democrats are and the way they cheat in elections. They have absolutely no shame. These criminals are the way the Democrats are. They have no shame whatsoever. They cheat, and it's almost like routine for them. It doesn't bother them at all. Kamala Harris lies about everything, and that's why they call her Lying Kamala. L-Y-I-N apostrophe. Lying. Lying. She's a liar. She lies about everything. She makes up stories about me. But yesterday, really, she said I ripped babies out of a crib. Donald Trump ripped. I ripped babies. I said, where did she get that one? Every day it's a new story. Now, if I'm a person, you know, that's not really into, like, knowing who Trump is, I would say he's a terrible guy. You know, he rips babies out of a crib. Remember when they blamed me for building cages to put kids in? And then somebody from Border Patrol said, I'm sorry, that was 2 years before President Trump came into office. That was done by Barack Hussein Obama, right? That was Barack Hussein Obama. Remember that? They let, I went through 2 weeks of hell, and then finally somebody spoke up and said, I never built those things, and then it was Obama that built them. So it took a little time. Did I get an apology from the fake news? Oh, that's a lot of fake news. Did I get an apology from the fake news? No. Did I get an apology from 60 Minutes when I said that the laptop from hell had nothing to do with Russia? It was done by Hunter. Did I get an apology from 60 Minutes? No. Remember that? She was fighting me. This was from Russia. I said, this was not from Russia. I won't tell you what the pictures were. They were not good. They never got into the real pictures, did they? Huh? If it was me, they would have gotten into the real pictures real fast. They didn't get into those pictures. She makes up stories about everything, including herself, like, you know, it's so nice. I always get criticized because they agree that I'm true, but why would I bring it up so much? Because it's so simple. It's not a horrible plot. It's not a complex thing that people get bored with, Uncle Sam. It's just basic. She said she worked so hard. She sweated over French fries at McDonald's, and she never worked there. It turned out to be a lie. And the fake news doesn't want to talk about it. Although I heard a major newspaper is doing a big story on it, it's a lie. It's a total lie. She never worked at McDonald's, but she lies about everything. And we can't let her get into office, and that's why I'm a little bit rougher than I would normally be. Basement, they got lucky because of the horrible COVID situation. We did an amazing job with COVID. I got credit for the economy. I got credit for the military. We took out ISIS. We rebuilt them. I got a lot of credit. Space Force. Never got credit. And what we did was amazing. Nobody knew what it was. What we did was amazing. With all of the things that we did were amazing, actually. But you know, when he came in, and then he comes along and he stops, and all of a sudden you realize, and now we got him as a president, and the wall stopped, and everything stopped, and people started coming in. Oh, is my favorite of all time, my favorite graph, in fact, my favorite document of all time, and I have some good ones. There is never a document like this. Do you have? They don't even know I'm going to be asking for this. This reminds me, oh, they're unbelievable. No, they didn't even know. That's my favorite document. That document saved my life. Immigration saved my life. Without that document, I would not be here. Without that document, I wouldn't be talking to you. Without that document, we're not here. Because that document's always on my left. It's always on my left. It's always at the end of the speech, not the beginning. And I had it on my right, because I don't use a teleprompter that much, you know, just pieces. By the way, I said this the other day. Isn't it nice to have a president that doesn't need to use a teleprompter? Isn't it, Uncle Sam? Isn't that nice? Isn't it really nice? But they do keep you out of a lot of trouble. You know, you just read the line. Like I was watching her the other day. Ba, 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 ba. Keeps you out of trouble because she can't answer a question. So this document turned out at the beginning. Think of that. What are the chances that it's at the beginning? I never did it at the beginning. Right at the beginning, and it's on my right instead of my left. And I was looking just at the right angle. Ping. I love that document. I sleep with that document every night. I kiss that document. I love that document. But what the document says, now that we get back to order, what the document says is that that was the lowest point, the arrow in the bottom, that was the lowest point of illegal immigration in the history of our country. It's the lowest point that we've ever had. We had it going good. That included drugs, and that included trafficking of women and trafficking of children. We had it going, and all they had to do is leave it. And they came in and they terminated everything. Sanctions, they terminated remain in Mexico. They terminated every single thing. And they ended up with, look what happened. It was like a rocket ship, what's gone on. And then we found out on top of everything, I don't think they knew it at that time, they had flights coming in from all over different parts of the world. Flights, big, beautiful airplanes loaded up with migrants flying over the border. So they really did want people to come in. You know, now she says, well, I did a good job, but we're going to do a good job. Why hasn't she done it? You know, my expression with her, you can say every word she utters. Why haven't you done it? She goes, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. She's there for almost 4 years. And I just keep saying, why? I did it during the debate. I killed her in the debate, but I have crooked people. What they do, I had 3-on-1. I didn't even mind that. I still won by a lot. But why? I asked a question. And David Muir, how about him? I said, how about that guy? Pretty boy. You know, we call him Pretty Boy. That's about it. That's about all. But you know what? I said, crime is at a level like we've never seen. It's rampant. It's rising. Okay. He interrupts me. I'm sorry, sir. Crime in this country has gone down. I said, you know, without looking at numbers, is there anybody in this room that think that crime has gone down? It's gone through the roof. And largely because of migrant crime. It's not only that. You know, in New York, you can't walk into a drugstore now. It's like you're in a prison of glass. If you want to buy aspirin, you have to wait 45 minutes for a clerk to come up and open because what's gone on. And every drugstore, I just lost one. I had a nice tenant. I just lost a tenant. I had a beautiful tenant at 40 Wall Street. I just lost a tenant. They opened a big chain drugstore. Big, beautiful chain. They opened. They were doing such great business. 40 Wall Street right across from the stock exchange. They gave me notice. They said, take everything. Walking out with, you know, she created something in San Francisco. Walking out with, you know, she created something in San Francisco. $950 you're allowed to steal. Anything above that, you will be prosecuted. Well, it works out that the $950 is a misnomer because you can steal whatever you want. You can go way above. But you'd see, originally you saw kids walk in with calculators. They were calculating. They didn't want to go over the $950. They're standing with calculators, adding it up. You know, these are smart people. They're not so stupid, but they have to be taught. Now, if you had one really violent day, like a guy like Mike Kelly, put him in charge, Congressman Kelly. Put him in charge for one day. Mike, would you say, he's right here. He's a great congressman. Would you say, Mike, that if you were in charge, you would say, oh, please, don't touch them. Don't touch them. Let them rob your store. Let all these stores go out of business, right? They don't pay rent. Then the city doesn't have money. It's a chain of events. It's so bad. One rough hour, and I mean real rough, the word will get out and it will end immediately. End immediately. You know, it'll end immediately. Crooked Joe Biden became mentally impaired, sad. But lying Kamala Harris, honestly, I believe she was born that way. There's something wrong with Kamala. And I just don't know what it is, but there is definitely something missing. And you know what? Everybody knows it.
Of safety and security, especially at our border.
Who really is Kamala Harris? She's been telling us her entire career.
I support our sanctuary law.
The illegal immigrant deported multiple times who stands accused of killing Kate Steinle.
An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal.
Also have the courage to reject that term illegal alien.
Are you aware that there's a perception?
Do you know?
Are you aware that there's a perception?
That puts ICE in the same category as the KKK. Is that what you're asking me?
Abolish ICE. Yeah. Is that a position that you agree with?
And we need to probably think about starting from scratch. We're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals. I am opposed to any policy that would deny any human being public health, period.
Would you be committing to close immigration detention centers? Absolutely, on day one.
How come she hasn't applied consequences the last 3.5 years? 10 million illegal encounters, 2 million gotaways, 600% increase in sex trafficking, more terrorists coming across the border, a record number of people off the terrorist watch list, and over 250,000 Americans dead to fentanyl that comes across the border. Consequences, there ought to be consequences for her failure.
We have a secure border. The border is secure.
Sickening new details about the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The 22-year-old was beaten to death with a mystery object.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't.
Kamala Harris, do you trust her to stop the invasion?
Thank you very much. And honestly, we could give you clips like that all day long. This is not your president. This president would destroy our country worse than Biden. He's the worst president in history. She would be worse. Every day, Kamala is using migrant flights and her phone app. Think of this. They're using a phone app where the migrants are allowed to phone them in so they find out how, but it's really, you know who really uses it? The cartels use it. The cartels use it because they pay off everybody. Our crooked people, they pay them off. They have a phone app. Where's the best place to drop the people? But they want to flood up Pennsylvania in particular, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, and the entire Midwest with thousands of migrants from the most dangerous countries on earth, destroying the character of small towns and leaving local communities in anguish and in despair. Pennsylvania is not going to take it anymore. I don't think you're going to take it anymore. I don't think so. Towns and leaving local communities in anguish and in despair. Pennsylvania is not going to take it anymore. I don't think you're going to take it anymore. I don't think so. As just an example, the beautiful 4,000-person town of Charleroi. Do you know Charleroi, Pennsylvania? Yes. Beautiful. It was beautiful. Lots of luck, Charleroi. I love you very much. But you get in, Charleroi will be beautiful again, but right now it's not so good. It's seen a 2,000% increase in the population of illegal immigrants under the borders of Harris. So its population, this is a little town. No crime, no problem, nice place to live. No problems. It just had a 2,000% increase in population with people just like we're showing you today. Our country is being turned into a dumping ground for the world. We have no choice. The people that Kamala Harris has illegally imported have to go back to places from which they came. They have to go back. They have to go back. In August, an illegal alien who Kamala Harris released into our country despite the fact that he was a convicted murderer and sex offender. Other than that, he was quite a nice gentleman. He was from El Salvador, killed a West Virginia mother of two. Killed her, viciously killed her. Didn't even think it was a bad thing. He didn't even think it was that bad. Only days ago, right here in Pennsylvania, an illegal alien ran over a 23-year-old musician with his car and did it on purpose. And in New York, an illegal alien brutally murdered a woman in front of her children and enjoyed doing it. If Kamala Harris wins this election, she will overwhelm Pennsylvania cities and towns with illegal immigrants and migrants. And Pennsylvania will never, ever be the same. I went to school here. I love this place. I know it. It's so different what's happening to your beautiful place. No, I went to school here, and I loved it. I always loved it. But what's happening is so different. Kamala is so radical, she even wants to legalize fentanyl. She wants fentanyl coming. When one little drop can destroy you, which is pouring across our borders at record levels, at levels that you've never seen before. Fentanyl, how many people? I mean, everybody I know, they have family members that are dying, mostly children. And many of them not even looking for drugs. They have something else where it's something that and it's laced with fentanyl, and they end up dying a vicious death, by the way. You know, I brought something, the snake. Does anybody want to hear it? We don't have to do it if you want to get back. Should we do the snake or not? Should we, David, do? We got to get that guy in office. Should we do it? Well, it's so apropos, right? Should we do it? 250, and he wants to eat the snake, but it's true. It's just so bad. But it is apropos, isn't it? So for those of you, who has not heard the snake? Who has heard the snake? And they don't care. They want to hear it again. Let's do it. This is about the border, essentially. It was an old song and a little rewording and things, but it was very, very apropos, and I think very good in a lot of ways. Got to learn your lesson. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. His pretty colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. Poor thing, she cried, I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you. Take me in, O tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. She wrapped him up all cozy in a comforter of silk and laid him by her fireside with some honey and some milk. She hurried home from work that night, and soon as she arrived, she found the pretty snake she'd taken in had been revived. Take me in, O tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. She touched him to her bosom. You're so beautiful, she cried. But if I hadn't brought you in by now, you truly would have died. She stroked his pretty skin again and kissed and held him tight. But instead of saying, "Thank you, ma'am," the snake gave her a vicious bite. Take me in, O tender woman, take me in for heaven's sake. Take me in, O tender woman, sighed the vicious snake. I saved you, cried the woman, and you've bitten me, but why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die. Shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in. That's what's happening on our border. That's what's happening on our border. I mean, we can get a PhD in whatever it is from the best school in the world. It's not going to be more accurate than that. When you look at that guy up there talking to the judge, I kill you, I kill you, I kill you. Oh, he wanted to kill him. He will. If he gets out, he'll kill him 100%. But you have to know, but this is what we're bringing into our beautiful country, our beautiful USA. This is what we're bringing. But we're bringing them in at levels that nobody's ever seen. And we're doing it by stupid people like Kamala. She's a stupid person. Stupid person. I don't care. I don't care. On day one of my new administration, the invasion ends and the deportations begin. We get them out. Thank you very much. As soon as I take office, I will stop all migrant flights to Penn. Believe they have an app. They have a phone app. It's called an app. Can you believe this? I will end immediately catch and release. So I had catch and release too. But you know where I released them? In Mexico. I have catch and release too, but I released them in Mexico. Their catch and release was to catch them, even if they were a criminal. Immediately they released them into our country. I released them into Mexico. I will end all sanctuary cities all over our country immediately. And I will restore Remain in Mexico. It's called Remain in Mexico, and it wasn't easy to get. I had a fight like hell with the Mexican government and the president, a good man, but I had a fight like hell. When I told him I want everybody to stay in Mexico, he laughed at me. He laughed. He said, "What? Why would we do that?" Why? I said, "You're going to do it." No, you're going to do it. No, but we can't do that. I said, "You're going to do it. And if you don't do it, we're putting this massive tariff on everything you sell into our country, including all the cars you stole. And we'll make an absolute fortune on you, all right?" And he said, "But Donald, it would be my great honor to do everything that you'd like to do. Please don't put those tariffs on me, please. I beg you, don't put the tariffs. I will send in the federal law enforcement to liberate every Pennsylvania town and every town in the United States of America that has been taken over by migrant gangs and thugs and criminal aliens." Another front in Kamala's war on Pennsylvania's way of life is her war on energy. She was always against fossil fuels. She was born that way. You don't change. You know, she just changed because her poll numbers were bad. You don't change. I'm the only guy this happens to. So I have the debate. Biden goes way down. He's down 21 points, I think. I'm leading by 21 points. The election's over. Crazy Nancy Pelosi. She's crazy as a bedbug. Oh, by the way, Visa, right? Did you see? Visa, she owned a lot of Visa. And the Justice Department brought suit against Visa, a vicious, big, a terrible suit. And she sold all of her stock the day before the suit was brought. She owned it for years. She's crooked. And she also knew, you know, we offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard, and she knew that. And she actually admitted it. She said it was her fault. It was her total responsibility. I couldn't believe the daughter released the tapes, but they weren't really released. They were gotten somehow. Somebody gave them. And she took total responsibility, J6. Nancy Pelosi said she turned down thousands of troops, National Guard. Now, you didn't need thousands. You didn't need 10,000. I offered 10,000 or more because I felt it was going to be a very big day. Everybody was talking about it. But she turned them down. If she would have had 200, 300, 400, January 6th would not have existed as we knew it. Now think of it. And she's right on tape. This is my fault. This is my responsibility. I can't believe this has happened. And then they try and blame me for it. I offered them 10,000 troops, whatever you need, a few days before, because I said, there are going to be a lot of people here. If Kamala is reelected, her Green New scam will obliterate the economy of your Commonwealth, obliterate it. All stupid stuff. It also caused a lot of inflation between the energy policies and everything else they did, but the crazy spending, Green New scam. It used to be called the Green New Deal. Now we call it. Do you ever notice this was such a big deal, the environmental stuff? I haven't heard the environmental stuff mentioned in 6 months. I was saying the other night, what the hell happened to the environment? David, will you figure this out? David McCormick, everybody vote for him. David, will you figure this out? You know? No, but think about this. I haven't heard, Mike, they don't even talk about the environment anymore. You know why? Mike is saying, don't talk about it now. No, it's one of the great scams of all time. You know why they don't talk about it? Because people aren't buying it anymore. I don't want to use bad language. My wife said, please don't use bad language. You know who said that? Right. The great son of the legendary Billy Graham, Franklin Graham. He said, sir, you are one of the greatest storytellers I've ever heard, but I listened to your rally the other night. You wrote me a beautiful letter, and your stories would even be better if you didn't use foul language. And I respect Franklin. I love Franklin. Franklin's a great guy. He really, really does a good job. And, you know, I took that letter. I said, gee. And then I said, okay, I won't use certain words. But, you know, when you don't use those certain little key words like bullshit, there's no other word. No, I'm trying to find, it's just, there's no other word. I mean, I don't use really bad words, but like, you know, for emphasis, and so I tried it one time and it wasn't pretty. Instead of that word, I said, and it's not true. And people are looking like, you know, falling asleep. Oh. But when I win, we will get Pennsylvania energy workers fracking, drilling, pumping, and producing like they have never produced before. Lion Kamala vowed to repeatedly ban fracking, and she imposed the natural gas export ban. That was a killer. That is starving your state right now of your wealth and wealth that you deserve. Right now, she imposed a ban on the natural gas. Very bad. People don't even talk about it. Her insane electric vehicle mandate. This is where everybody's going to have an electric car within a very short period of time. But maybe not everybody wants an electric car. And we love Elon. I love Elon. He endorsed me, gave me the strongest endorsement. And his Tesla is great, but he understands this. And he never once, you know, somebody said, does Elon ever speak to you about the electric? I said, never spoke to him about it. He never called me and said, what the hell are you doing here? Because he understands. He's got a great market. It might be 7 or 8%. But they're trying to have everyone 100%. Number one, they're made in China for the most part. They will all be made. The auto workers are now, you saw the Teamsters overwhelmingly supported me. You saw that. And the auto workers are overwhelmingly supporting me. It's pretty amazing. But the insane electric vehicle mandate, they want everybody to have an electric car, but they don't go far. They cost much more. There are a lot of problems, and they don't work well. You know, in Iowa, it was 20 degrees below zero, and I always heard the cars don't work well in the cold. And I had a big night in Iowa. I won that whole primary thing. We won by numbers that nobody's ever seen before. So I remembered very vividly, and I'm driving there, and there are cars all over the road. I said, what the hell is going on? Sir, they're electric cars, and they don't work in cold weather. I said, oh, that sounds like a bad idea. No, there are a lot of problems, but there are a lot of, you know, some people want them. They're great. Other people don't. But you have to have your choice. If you want a gasoline-propelled car, if you want to have a hybrid, you should have it. You should be able to have it. The new thing is hydrogen. They have hydrogen cars. They have one problem. On occasion, it will blow up. And when it blows up, you are not recognizable. No, you're not even recognizable. This is like a massive bomb being dropped. When it blows up, you are no longer, your wife cannot identify you. Let me put it that way. Is this your husband? They show you blood. Is this your husband? I really can't tell. No, so that's a problem they're going to have to work out, I think. But they say that's the new up-and-coming thing. So far, I'm not interested. Her insane electric vehicle mandate will decimate Pennsylvania's economy by abolishing gas-powered cars and trucks for American roads and destroying your fossil fuel industry. And there's very few states that benefit like you do from fracking. I mean, it's you have 500,000 jobs. And if she gets it, she's going to just dead it. She's a liar. Remember, again, McDonald's, just put it in your mind. It's so simple. I don't have to go through a long story. She said she worked there. She's a liar. That's why we're calling her L-Y-I-N apostrophe. And thanks to her Green New scam, your electricity prices are up in Pennsylvania 62% since she took office, and are slated to be increased this year by more than 30%. Congratulations. You know, if and when we win, you know, everyone says, sir, say, if they didn't cheat, I wouldn't even be here today. You know why? I wouldn't have to campaign. I'm here only because they cheat, and they cheat in this state, especially in Philadelphia, and I mentioned a couple of the areas, but for the most part, but Philadelphia is out of control. Detroit is out of control. Atlanta is out of control. Places are out of control, because if there was no cheating, if God came down from a high and said, I am going to be your vote tabulator for this election, I would leave this podium right now because I wouldn't have to speak. We wouldn't have any problem. We have to have a landslide because they cheat so damn much. We have to have a landslide. Right, Mike? So I never say when I win. We're leading in all the polls. We're leading the state. But I say if and when, because I don't want to be obnoxious, and I don't want to be foolish either. But if and when we're leading big, I win, I will cut. Too big to rig, you're right. We want to make it too big to rig. But here's a big promise to Pennsylvania and to the whole country, by the way, because your prices are really high. I mean, for people with all of that power, all of that liquid gold under your feet, you're getting screwed. You're paying high. You're paying one of the highest energy rates, including cars, air conditioners, heating. You're paying one of the highest in the whole country. Perhaps your governor's not doing a very good job. I don't know what the hell's going on. But when you have that kind of energy, you shouldn't be paying the price. But you're one of the highest. But here's a promise I'm making to you. I will cut your energy and electricity prices in half, 50%, 50, within 12 months of taking the oath of office. Within 12 months of taking the oath of office, I will cut your energy prices by 50%, and it's not going to be hard, and I will terminate the natural gas export ban. Can you imagine we have a ban? We have countries that want to pay us. You know, we were energy independent 4 years ago. Now we're not. But more importantly, we were going to be energy dominant. I would have been producing today 3 to 4 times what I was doing 4 years ago. I will repeal the insane electric vehicle mandate, and we will drill, baby, drill. Those 2 things very early. Drill, baby, drill. Thank you. And earlier this month, I was honored to receive the endorsement, as I said just a little while ago, but I got the endorsement from the rank and file membership of the Teamsters. It was a great honor. You know, I've used in New York. It's a very union town, and I used the Teamsters for years. They were great. They drove the cement trucks where I poured the concrete frames, and I did it for many years. A lot of buildings, built many buildings, many buildings, and Teamsters. And I got along with them great, but I got 60% of the vote. Actually, I think more than that, but 60% of the vote. And some local chapters, we did even better in Pennsylvania. We got 65% of the vote from the Teamsters. Wow, thank you very much. I love the Are there any Teamsters? Any Teamsters in the room? Good. Stand up, sir. He's a tough-looking guy. Very good. Good. Thank you. And as a result of this, you know, shocking, to me it's not shocking, but as a result, the national organization, as you know, has refused to endorse the Democrat candidate for president for the first time in decades. I mean, it's been a long time. And I want to thank Teamsters President Sean O'Brien and all of the incredible rank-and-file Teamsters that did this. This was a big shocker. It wasn't shocking to me. I said, how the hell are Teamsters? You know, these are tough people. How the hell are they going to vote for this woman, this terrible person? She's weak in so many ways, like, you know, she's weak. They're not going to vote for that. I said a long time ago, I actually believe they would have been better if they left crooked Joe Biden in, because I actually think at least he had a base. She has no base. You know, she was the last person. She came in last because when he ran, he got 14 million votes, whatever you want. I'm not a big fan of his. I wouldn't say he's exactly the greatest. Do we agree? Not exactly the greatest. He doesn't have any idea where the hell he is, but I think he's better than she is. And he had a base. You know, he had a little base because of years and years. He made up a lot of it. You know, he said he lived here, he lived there. He said, I used to fly jets, too. If pilots came in, I used to fly jets. If truckers came in, I used to drive a truck. The worst of all, though, was when he said, I want to play him in golf. He wants to play me in golf. You ever see him play? Yeah. And Trump. Oh, but I'm a good golfer. No, I'm a good golfer. He said, I want to play him in golf. I'll give him 3 strokes a side. I said, can you believe this? The guy can't play. He never could. By the way, 30, 40 years ago, he couldn't play either. I was also honored to receive the endorsement of the Fraternal Order of Police, representing almost 400,000 police officers. Biggest organization all across our country. And also, I got almost every single police. Maybe I got them all, but I want to say almost because the fake news is back there, so I have to be careful. If I say I got them all and there's like one little group in some place, no, but I got almost every single group of police officers and law enforcement, generally sheriffs, everybody. These are great people, and we got to let them do their job. Also central to Kamala's agenda for economic destruction is her plan to impose the largest individual tax hikes in American history on you, the largest small business tax hike. She wants to get rid of the estate tax provision that I have in my tax, where if you die and you love your children, you can leave your small farm or small business to your kids. If you don't love your children, it doesn't matter. Does anybody here not love their children? Okay, then I've covered 100% of the audience. Well, there are some, but they're sort of embarrassed. They don't want to raise their head. But also, it's the wants to impose the largest capital gains tax in history, and even a brand new wealth confiscation tax, or as they call it, unrealized capital gain, where you have to pay a capital gain even if you keep your business or keep whatever it is that you want to keep. You have to go out, get it appraised. And then you have to, after you get it appraised, you have to negotiate. This is the craziest thing. That's called a communist tax. That's basically a confiscation. I mean, some people in this room, you're wealthy, but you don't have a lot of cash, and you're no longer wealthy with this one. This one is whack job. But that's, I don't know if it's ever been used. I mean, I've heard about it for years, but it's called unrealized capital gains. It means exactly what it says. They're unrealized, so you can't tax them, which will annihilate the stock market and wipe out the savings of millions and millions of seniors and retirees, and middle-class families would be devastated. Kamala Harris is a tax queen. She's known as the tax queen. She loves taxing people. This is the only election I've ever seen where somebody brags about, we're going to raise your taxes. You know, I've grown up watching politics. I've always liked politics. I've been on the other side, like writing contribution checks. But I've watched, and I've never heard anything like, you know, most politicians, we will cut your taxes. This is constantly, even if they don't do it, by the way. A lot of times they don't. We will cut your taxes. It is our goal to cut your taxes. We're going to cut. Right, Mike? Every politician. Have you ever seen one that doesn't do that? Look at, I have all these great people here. Great congressmen, warriors. David, are you going to ever say, we will raise your taxes? No, I don't think so. No, I've never seen it. This is the only group. We are going to raise your taxes. We're going to give you capital gains confiscation. We're going to do things that nobody has ever had to do. Vote for Kamala. Who the hell is going to vote? Open borders, tax increases, regulations at a level that no business will be able to hire you. Kamala is coming for your money. She's coming for your pension. She's coming for your savings. And unless you defeat her in November, this country is going to go to hell. As president, I will keep Kamala's greedy hands out of your pockets, and I will deliver gigantic tax cuts for working families of Pennsylvania. Thank you. And very importantly, and this is so important because this is something, and she tried to copy me, that one didn't work out, that she tried. A few months later, she said it, she got slaughtered. We will have no tax on tips. No tax on overtime. And no tax on Social Security benefits for seniors. No tax. No tax. And you know, it's going to lead to great things. A lot of people don't give. I know a lot about overtime. I'd hated to give overtime. I hated it. I'd get other people, I shouldn't say this, but I'd get other people in, I wouldn't pay. I hated. This is going to lead to a lot more. I think it's going to be economically positive, but I'm not even doing it for that reason. I'm doing it because like the no tax on overtime, it's something so good, but no tax for the seniors. Do we have any seniors here? I hate to admit it. I'm a senior. They'll say, he's got a conflict of interest. He's giving this to himself. Watch. I'll end up in front of a grand jury tomorrow. Donald Trump has suggested no tax on Social Security benefits. And he's got a conflict of interest. We're putting him before a grand jury because I've seen more grand juries than Alphonse Capone. And he averaged about killing one person a week. Alphonse, the meanest of them all. I know more about grand juries than Alphonse ever even thought about. My father's looking down on my mother. They're great people. They say, can you believe my son did this? Can you believe that my son would run for politics and be treated this way? But you know what? And we're doing great. We won the big case in Florida. We're winning them all. I'll tell you what, did you see? We won the big case. That was the big one. They're going to get him in Florida. They're going to get him in Florida. It was always That seemed to be the documents case. I had every right to have them, called the Presidential Records Act. That's what they passed it for. But he didn't have that act because he wasn't president. And he got out. You know how he got out? And I don't want to talk about him too much because she's running. Maybe he'll go back. If she does really badly, they'll probably put him back. Let's see change. But think of this. So they got him out. They said, he's guilty of what he did, but he's grossly incompetent, which she never told us, by the way. That's putting our country at risk. She should have told us. But he's incompetent, so nobody like this should be able to go to court. So think of it. He can't go to court, but he can run the United States of America. There's something wrong with that, right? There's something wrong with that. But the big case was a documents case in Florida. And we had a brilliant judge who was somebody that understood this whole thing. And I won the case in its entirety. And they go like, that was the big one. The big one was that we're going to get him in Florida. We're going to get that documents case. No, these are very crooked people. These people have weaponized the justice system. And we're not going to let it happen. We're not going to let it happen. It's a shame, but that's what it's been. Just makes your job more difficult. But it's all what we fight and the resolve that we have. It's the big reason why we're leading in Pennsylvania. And the Emerson poll just came out. I just heard 2 seconds ago, actually. We're up in Pennsylvania, Arizona, Wisconsin, Georgia, and they're the only ones they did. Even the New York Times, they're not big fans of mine. I'm not big fans of them, the failing New York Times. The Siena poll, we're up in North Carolina by a lot. And we're up in Georgia by 4, and we're up in Arizona by 5. That's in the New York Times. If they say that, David, that means we're up by, he goes, Uncle Sam said triple. I think you're right. Uncle Sam, please stand up. Look at this guy. Thank you. And by the way, he doesn't work for me. He goes to a lot of these, you know, they say it's the greatest show on earth. It is pretty great, isn't it, though? Isn't it? The people make it great. It's the greatest show on earth, but he does, Uncle Sam, I don't know who he is, but I shook his hand the other day, like at the Nassau Coliseum when we had a big one, but I shook his hand. He's got the strongest hands. He almost broke. I couldn't believe it. I said, Uncle Sam has strong hands. David, I was complaining the whole night. I said, I'm never shaking that guy's hand again. Have you known that? You have strong hands. He said, thank you, sir, very much. And I felt that cracking feeling, right? Now, you're a strong guy, right? Strong hands. What did you do for a living?
I want to go to your inauguration.
Okay. That's a roofer. Good. I can see it. Good. I'll bet you're a good one, too. Thank you. Thank you, Uncle Sam. You know, when she gets a little, she doesn't get a crowd, but when she gets a little crowd, they have buses coming in. So we take pictures of the buses, we give them to the fake news, they never report it, you know? But they have the bus people, and then they only show the first 3 or 4 rows. But we don't, like Uncle Sam, I mean, I don't pay anybody to come. We don't do any of that stuff. We have the most incredible group of people all over the country. No, I mean, if you were up in Wisconsin, you would have seen something that actually was incredible. But we're winning in Pennsylvania, and the main thing that we have to do is we have to get out the vote. We have to get out the vote, because if we lose this election, we are going to have a problem with this country, the likes of which I think no country has ever faced before. Here in Pennsylvania, you also need to vote for your next senator, and he's a great guy. I've known him for a long time. He's a winner in the military. He's a winner in life. He's got a fantastic wife and family, and I'm telling you, he's a warrior. He was a warrior in the military. He then goes into private practice, and he made a lot of money. He ran one of the biggest firms, and did really great, respected so much beyond this, and he just wanted to do something, I would say, for the country and for Pennsylvania, because, you know, Pennsylvania to the country, but he loves his country, and he loves the Commonwealth. And Dave McCormick, just come up for a second, would you, Dave? Come on up.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. And hello, Erie, how are you? You know, I just wanted to say, Mr. President, thank you for coming back to the Keystone State. This is the place where we're going to retire Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and send you back to the White House, right here in Pennsylvania. Right here. This state, right here in Erie. Erie, the bellwether, right here. And this is also where we're going to have the chance to fire a guy named Bob Casey. Bob Casey is weak. He's weak, he's a career politician, he's liberal, and we got to send him packing and bring a Republican majority to the Senate to get the Trump agenda across the finish line. And you know, I'm new to politics, but ever since I can remember, I've had people tell me, this is the most important election of your lifetime. How many times have we heard it? I want to tell you, my friends, this, for our kids, for our grandkids, this is the most important election of our lifetimes, right here. And it's a race between strength, a guy who says fight, 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 and weakness, the weakness of Kamala Harris. It's a race between common sense policies and a radical liberal agenda. You don't have to listen to me. This is a woman who said, in her own words, we want to ban fracking. We want to transition energy workers. We want to give amnesty to 10 million illegal immigrants. We want to make sure they have federal benefits. We want to have mandatory buybacks of your guns. We want to defund the police. And how about this? We want to reduce your red meat consumption, right? We need common sense leadership. It's common sense. We need a leader who's going to open up our energy sector, that pure, beautiful natural gas from Pennsylvania right here, President Trump. We need leadership to tame. We got to tame this inflation and help working families with President Trump. We need to bring law and order to our cities, and we need to secure that border and stop these illegal immigrants coming in and bringing crime and fentanyl into Pennsylvania. And most important, our adversaries around the world are testing us. They're challenging us every day. We need peace through strength that we only will get if we get President Trump back in the White House and a majority in the Senate. So I want to tell you all, this is the most important election of your lifetime, but it depends on you. You got to get out there. You got to tell your friends. You got to get them to vote. This is the most important election of your lifetime. Let's go do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Great, Dan. That's great, David. So get out. Dave McCormick, great guy. You got to get him in. He'll be a tremendous asset, tremendous help to you and to everybody. We're also pleased to be joined by a couple of real warriors. Mike Kelly, who I mentioned before. Mike, please stand up. Congressman. This guy he's a great guy. He's been my friend for a long time. I won't say how long because I don't want to have them think we're a little old, because we're not old. Where it counts, we're not old. But I'll tell you, Mike is a tremendous guy, and he's been that for a long time, and he loves your Commonwealth, and he loves it a lot, and he loves our country. So thank you, Mike, for being here. Appreciate it. And another longtime friend, Nick Langworthy, who is a congressman, doing really well. I've known him he was the leader of the party. He was a leader of everything he's done, and you're doing a great job. Thank you very much, Nick. Thank you. And a very popular mayor of Slippery Rock, J.D. Alongo. Thank you, J.D. Thank you very much. Good job. And all the other people, we have so many people here. We won't do all, and I apologize, but we got to get back to it, and then we'll get the hell out of here. You go home, watch a football game or something, right? Lion Kamala Harris is the worst vice president acknowledged to be in history. Everyone thought she wouldn't get it, but they wanted to be politically correct, so she gave it to her. And here are the facts. She wants open borders. She cost the typical family $29,000. Think of that because of her inflation policy. And it's going to cost a lot more than that very soon. It's going up by a lot. She was an original creator of defund the police. Are there anybody that wants to defund the police for even 1 week is not worthy of being the president of the United States? So you go ahead, put up that video, please.
Kamala Harris's radical ideas keep ending in tragedy. Harris raised money